choice?
Yes, you can bring that up. Sure.
Almost unanimously, what child is this?
All right. I love it when there's no argument.
Almost.
Almost.
We got a couple of Hark, Herald angel sings.
Okay, well, maybe I'll satisfy everybody. That's going. All right. I can do a big clap before I start playing.
Yeah, we'll need it. Hang tight.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We are attempting to do, for the first time ever, trying to do a hybrid concert that's both here and online at the same time. And the tech is fun, which is why I pulled in expert help. So we'll get started here in just a second. Last thing I'll need you to do is to go on it's something halfway through the concert, go on the screen, make sure there's no online votes or anything that's going to outwit what these folks said.
All right, you're gonna have your screen up here, like on Safari or something.
Yeah, I think you can bring it up.
Okay. So let me just make sure I got this right. So your camera is not recording, right?
No, everything's going into there.
No, I understand that, but your camera's not also recording.
Nope.
Okay.
All going into
so
there.
This is just gonna go to sleep in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So if I just hit a button once in a while, it should be fine.
Yep. That should be. That's
Okay.
right.
No need to turn it off again.
Yeah, as long as it stays away. Okay. That'll be good. Okay, are you all set?
Gonna start recording.
Because I'm just gonna jump into the first one.
There it is. Hey, all right.
Lower? No.
two microphone system, well, multiple microphone system actually. Now that we've got recording, we've got like about 5, 6 microphones going on right now. But thank you so much for being here. The camera has shifted. Hello, there you are. Much better actually. Thank you so much for being here at our second annual Christmas organ concert. My name is Daniel Brownell, and I am the principal organist and minister of music here at First Church. We are so delighted to have you joining us either online or in person. It's so good to have an actual audience in here after 2 years, you know, and hearing, actual applause just means so much more than it used to, because, back when we were doing these all online, and we get a little bit, but it'd be all online, so it'd be very different. Tonight's concert features not only our mighty Holtkamp organ here, which is the cornerstone of music here at First Church, dueling out a whole bunch of cool Christmas tunes. There'll be some of my own, as you just heard there. That's one of mine. But also give you an opportunity to hear different takes on different styles of music, different types of music built on the same thing. At First Church this year, our theme is Created to Create. So I'm going to try to give you all a sense of into the mind of the composer, how they create with their mind and with their heart. That opening one and the one at the end are kind of one of my first, one of my strongest memories of an organ. Actually has nothing to do with church. It is the dueling Wurlitzer organs that are at the the Christmas Spectacular at the Radio City Music Hall. So if you ever gone to that, you see the first thing they do is these two guys on dueling Wurlitzer consoles come out from each side, and they play against each other, and it sounds something kind of like that, I would imagine. So the Christmas Fantasia at the end will sound like that as well. So moving on here, I'm going to stick into my own canon of rep here. We're going to play you a little meditation on 3 ancient tunes. We're going to kind of work through Christmas somewhat chronologically. Christmas as a season, Advent and Christmas together, it's all a season of preparation. So as we move from Advent forward, we start with some of the more ancient tunes, and we'll kind of arrive at the birth of Christ at the at the epic of all of this near the end. So this piece will encompass 2 very ancient tunes, probably some of the oldest ones you'll have in the book. Divina Mysterium, which is better known as Of the Father's Love Begotten, and O Come, Come Emmanuel, better known as Veni Emmanuel. These are both pre-10th century, so they go back a long way, and you'll see what we can do with them. So thanks for being here. Thank you very much. I'm going to shift to to an organist at least would be a very staple of the season, and that is the Corral Prelude of J.S. Bach, and off of the Lutheran chorale tune Wachet die Stimme. And you'll hear very clearly, without even knowing how this tune goes, you'll hear that it's basically built with an obligato line in the right hand, a very kind of flourishy, florid kind of a line there, and then a very clear chorale tune underneath. So without even me playing the tune for you ahead of time, you'll hear it pretty clearly. And this is a pretty indicative of the day in terms of how they would put together. There's a lot of different ways of building chorale prelude tunes. You could do it as a fugal contrapuntal model. You could do it like this in the chorale prelude with a kind of a ritornello. He chooses the ritornello, and it's just a lovely little piece here to kind of open up. He's got a whole, there are 7 of the Schubert chorales that kind of engulf the entire, from Advent all the way through Comes to Noon, which is more of Pentecost. So here is Wachet die Stimme, which is roughly translated, "Wake up, sleepers, Christ is coming." Okay, thank you. The next two are a bit of a unit because I'm going to give you two different takes on a pastoral. Now, the term pastoral, like the term pastor, means shepherd, deep, deep down. It comes from the root for the word that ultimately translates to shepherd. So you can imagine this serene scene, the shepherd sitting there with the crook, looking at all the sheep and hoping to goodness none of them run away. Very serene type of thing. So we're going to have the F major, the opening of the F major pastoral by Bach, and you get to compare that to the pastoral of Domenico Zipoli, a Italian Baroque master, around from a little bit earlier than J.S.'s time. Thank you so much. Amazing how you can get two different very opposite takes on the same concept. And we had a lot of that in this concert. So moving on, we're going to now move to the Corral Prelude, one of the Corral Preludes of Johannes Brahms, entitled Es ist eine Rosensprungen, which is the German translation of Lo, how a rose erblumen. I know that's one of the ones you get to choose from at the end for me to improvise over, but Brahms has a lovely take of it as well. Speaking of this piece, this is a great time for me to promo some of the things that are coming up, because it's, not such a busy season. It's just Christmas. We have, in 2 days, we have the very most musical service of the entire season here on Sunday afternoon, right in this room, in person and online. Our Candlelight Carol service, this will be the prelude to that piece, to that service as well. You'll get to sing all the carols that you missed out on singing last year. You'll get to hear the choirs that you didn't hear last year in person, and you'll get to experience that magic that you may or may not have missed in the last year because of what the pandemic has done to how we do things. So we are hoping to grasp some of that magic again on Sunday afternoon at 4. Then, of course, come back here next weekend for Christmas Eve, 3 o'clock outdoors, weather permitting, 7 o'clock and 11 o'clock in here as well. So this is the Brahms Corral Prelude on Lo, how a rose. Okay, thank you very much. As we kind of move into the next two, I want to remind you, if you haven't had a chance to vote, one of the coolest features of this concert is that you all, the in-person and the online audience, get to choose the last piece that I play. Of course, this only extends to those of you who are here live. The concert isn't going to, if you come and watch later, it's going to be the same concert that's going on now. But if you're here live, you get to choose what I'm going to improvise over for my last piece. There are 4 carols available. You'll see them in the YouTube description, or you saw it on the way in. Probably the greatest expression of creatism for a musician is making it up on the spot, although composition is a very close second, and I've dabbled in both. This next piece, Rustic Serenade to the Madonna, is by a composer that you might not associate with the organ too often. Hector Berlioz is much more associated with orchestral music, such as the Symphonie Fantastique, but he also wrote only 3, and this is one of the only 3 pieces he wrote with the organ in mind. Unfortunately, he had the harmonium in mind, so he didn't have this big instrument concept in mind, but it's still a lovely piece. And this piece channels another very famous piece that's heard around this time of year, the Handel Messiah. You'll hear the aria, while the shepherds lie with their flocks in this piece. So listen to a little bit of Berlioz channeling Handel. Okay. Thank you so much. Yeah, Berlioz, it's a little bit of a quieter side to him. He's usually fairly bombastic. Also, one of the most famous percussionists of the orchestral compositional canon, believe it or not. He was a timpanist. So, gets into the head of him a little bit. This last one before I play the improv is the little song of the Virgin Mary, and this probably is my favorite of the ones this afternoon. I know you're thinking to yourself, wait a minute, Dan, you're not allowed to have a favorite because all these, you chose all these pieces, and two, you're a musician. Isn't that like choosing between your kids? It's true, but go back to the shepherd image. This is like a sheep that walked away that I forgot about because I'm a bad shepherd, and he came back, and I was like, oh, I missed you so much. Where have you been all this time? And this composer, Marco Enrico Bossi, is Italian, another Italian composer. We got the Italians very well represented today. But I came across this composer a little bit more recently via a friend of mine who played a piece for one of our Halloween concerts a couple months ago. It's amazing. Musicians, we kind of find these different sounds and these different composers sometimes just by word of ear, just passing them on. So I found this, and then I found this in one of my collections, a little song to the Virgin Mary, and it's truly a delight. So here is a little tune of Marco Enrico Bossi. Okay, thank you very much. It appears that the old tune "Green Sleeves" has won the audience participation prize, unless I hear otherwise here in a second from the stream, but it looks like that's the one we're going to go with. I know there are a bunch of you who went for Hark the Herald Angels Sing, so the beauty of improvisation is I can probably give that to you too. When it's being made up on the spot, it's like ordering a sandwich. You can add whatever you want to it. Before I play this, and then I will, of course, end with it's become kind of a famous thing for me to do here on Christmas and Christmas Eve, is to do my famous Fantasia, which is, again, kind of like my take on the dueling Rockefeller Center, or Radio City Music Hall, rather, dueling organs at the end. Just want to thank everybody for coming out this afternoon, hearing our organ in person, and for those of you tuning in online. Thank you for tuning into our first truly hybrid concert experience. And I want to thank my tech crew here, Matt, who's behind the light, working the stream, Rebecca for coming down with him, 3-hour drive. They used to live around here. They since were lame and moved to Vermont, but we're so glad that they came back so we could see them and so they could help us out, because everything I've ever learned about doing this tech, I've really learned from Matt. So I really appreciate them being here. Thanks to my music committee staff downstairs working the programs and things like that. And thanks to you all being here, both online and in person, to hear this mighty instrument. And if you like what you hear and you'd like to hear more, I encourage you to go to to either donate in person or go online and donate online. If you go to firstchurchofmilford.org, you click the Giving tab and the Pledges and Memorials tab underneath that, you'll see the organ fund. This instrument is actually turning 60 next year. It was first installed in 1962, and we are planning to do some big stuff to it and give a big concert for it next year in the spring. So your donation goes to a long way to keeping this instrument doing what it does best for another 60 years and beyond. And you should definitely check out the website going forward, not only for Christmas activities, but also for our spring activities, because we have a bunch of wonderful spring concerts coming your way. Probably the highlight being the redux of the American Music Concert, which we lost right before the pandemic in 2020. We're going to get the Meeting House Chorale doing that. We'll have organ concerts. We'll have all sorts of good stuff. So definitely check us out in the spring. And if I don't see you for the rest of the season, I do hope you'll come back for Candlelight Carol on Sunday afternoon at 4 and come back for Christmas Eve. But if I don't see you, have a wonderful and healthy holiday season. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year 2022. And we all hope for even better things in 2022, maybe we'll start finding our way out of this pandemic thing we've been in. We can only hope. Thanks for being here.